We're going to
Yeah.
get all exposed
Yeah.
and yet keep all our clothes on.
So it seems like
Well,
Probably.
we'll
for
talk
the
about it.
OnlyFans. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bonus VIP content.
Reminder to self: get the OnlyFans username before posting this video, so
yes.
that no one else snags it off of this.
Oh, smart.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Dean, and this is the Kackling Koven, where we take serious magic not so seriously. These are my co-hosts.
I'm Jay.
I'm Shannon.
Thank you for joining us. Today, we were going to talk a little bit about what we're doing here at all, and also do some of these TableTopics cards for just some good conversation. So I can go around my microphone and find us a card to start with, so
Yeah.
we don't have to get into serious personal stuff immediately.
Little
Taking it light.
icebreaker.
I know everyone wants us to get into serious personal stuff. That will be in the teaser at the beginning of the video.
Oh, yeah.
For the hello. So
you've already seen it.
Yeah, you've already seen the good part. Just hold on. The good part's coming, okay?
Trust us, we will trauma dump.
Yeah.
Only a
So-
matter of time.
Absolutely. We've got some cats here with us. If you see cats coming in and out of frame or like bumping cameras around, that's just the way it is.
They are
Gonna
crew.
happen.
Yeah.
It's Gunsta.
Yeah. So, we've got some of these original TableTopics cards. They're a pretty good way to just start conversations, get to know each other a little bit better, and we want y'all to get to know us a little bit better. So, our first one today is: what is more important, justice or forgiveness?
Ooh.
Yeah, we're starting right off with justice, which I know is a key word here.
It is big in my vocabulary.
I have some thoughts about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm by no means an expert. I just started actual professional therapy this year at age 43. So, grain of salt for anything I have to say. But I've always thought it was strange to try to guilt people into forgiving people who've hurt them. It seems like something that bad people would try to convince you is important. Like, oh, you'll never have peace after this thing I did to you unless you forgive me. Like, it seems manipulative to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know really how important forgiveness is when you've been harmed. I think that to process all of your emotions, anger is part of that. And you might need to stay in anger for a little bit of time and to be pressured to get over that part like really, really quickly and rush to the forgiveness part, I don't think is doing yourself any justice, which is the second part of it. I think justice is hella important.
All
Because-
justice all the way.
How can you have any hope for the future if you believe that people who are out there doing harm to other people all day, every day, are never going to be held accountable?
Yeah.
How can you believe in anything anymore? Especially if you're not a very religious person, so you don't believe in some sort of punishment in the afterlife. It's important to see that someone messed up and hurt someone else really, really bad, and they were held to account. So for me, justice.
Yeah, I feel like justice kind of needs to come before forgiveness. If you're forgiving someone, but there's no justice for the thing that they did in the first place,
Yeah.
that doesn't seem like it's an equal transition, an equal transaction.
One
that
before the
situation.
other. No
Yeah.
forgiveness without justice coming first.
Yeah, yeah,
makes
like
sense.
yeah, you shouldn't feel like you're pressured to forgive someone for something that they did when they have experienced no consequences
Yes.
for this thing that they did. Like, okay, it's either justice, or you have to really believe that they understand what they did wrong, they're sorry.
Regret it.
Like, that's a form of justice,
They've changed.
is making them feel like, oh, yes, I was a bad person in that moment, and I am going to work to change. That's a form of justice,
It
and
is,
that's
yeah.
what our justice system in an ideal situation is trying to do, is get people to get ready to reintegrate back into society when you're
Yes.
talking about justice as a word like that. But
And most people will never get the legal aspect of justice, but just in interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
If the person that caused you harm at least acknowledges it, apologizes for it, and has a plan to make amends, that's kind of an immediate justice that you can get. And no forgiveness until that.
yeah.
I do not forgive. No.
I don't need forgiveness, but I need justice.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, I think part of that is when you feel like you have nothing that you need to be forgiven for, right? You are an innocent. You
I wouldn't say
you
I'm
don't need to be forgiven.
innocent.
Well, so yeah, it's like if
But I don't need to be
if
forgiven.
you don't need to be forgiven for anything, it's hard to have perspective on what that feels like.
Oh,
But-
I over apologize.
Yeah.
Even if I don't see yet how what I did was wrong, if I can perceive that the other person is genuinely hurt, I'll apologize 1st. And then I'll work through figuring out why whatever I did was wrong and what to do about it.
Yeah.
I'll just apologize right away. I don't want people I love to be harmed.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I guess you have to think of, both justice and forgiveness from the perspective of the person who was wronged and the person doing the wrong, right? So, when we think about cats are gonna rub up against this camera. All right, cool. So, yeah, like you think about justice and like what comes to my mind is like Law and Order, right?
Right. Dun dun.
Yeah, dun dun. It is
Dun.
someone paying a price
was left
for the
out.
thing that they have done wrong, so that they won't do it again. Forgiveness, though, like I think there can be value for forgiveness when it's not like you don't even express it to the person that you are forgiving. So I think that's where there's value to forgiveness without justice. If you know that there's not or not likely to be any justice, then you can still perhaps do yourself some good by, and maybe it's not even forgiving, maybe it's letting go of.
Yes, and we talked about
animosity.
this like a little bit ago. There is some value in forgiving yourself and just making a really conscious effort one day to think about the times when you should have known better and you didn't know better, and maybe you got fooled, and maybe you stayed in a relationship too long or stayed at a job too long, far past when it was healthy for you. And you start thinking, why did I do that? Am I broken? Am I stupid? What caused me to allow that? And there is some value in forgiving yourself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
important.
Yeah, I definitely went through that. When I was going through the beginning stages of my divorce, was like just sitting there, like looking at photos of myself as a child. Excuse me, as looking at photos of myself as a child, and just thinking, "Oh, I am so sorry for what you're about to go through.
Innocent
I would have avoided
young
it if I
man.
could." Everything's gonna be okay. Trust me, everything's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna work out.
You got to go
But
through it.
damn,
to
I
get
am
to the
so
other
sorry
side.
that you had to go through that. And yeah, that's a weird part of like, for like forgiving myself, trying to ask forgiveness from my younger self for the
Yeah.
way that I fucked things up.
Yeah. You didn't take care of you.
And and you can't guarantee there's going to be any justice for anything like that. It's
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about my case in particular of justice because that's for another episode perhaps in the future. But
I
it's-
assume.
Yeah, but
We're going to
Yeah.
get all exposed.
Yeah.
And yet keep all our clothes on.
so it
Yeah.
seems like
Well,
Probably.
we'll talk about it.
fans. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Bonus VIP content.
Reminder to self: get the OnlyFans username before posting this
Oh,
video,
oh,
so
yes.
that no one else snags it off of this.
Oh, smart.
Hmm.
Gotta keep our
So
options open.
it sounds like kind of all of us feel like justice is more important when it comes to especially when it comes to the person who has done some wrong.
Right.
Forgiveness is more important when it comes to the person who has been wronged.
Yes.
And them processing their emotions and being able to move on with their lives. Now, sure, it would be great to have justice to be able to move on with your life as well, but you can't count on that.
No.
It's true. I
Not
still
guaranteed.
yearn for justice
Yeah.
on many different topics.
And I mean, if I'm trying to view this from all sides, it's like, okay, from the person's side who is doing wrong, it's great to get forgiveness with no justice, right?
Oh, for sure.
That is the ideal situation, is
Oh, yeah.
forgiveness with no justice. And I'm explicitly not going to make any political point right now.
Uh,
Okay.
All
So
right.
there we go. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not taking a political side, and you can take from that what you will.
oh, we gons to take sides.
Yeah. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
That was a good card.
That was a good card. I was happy about
Good,
that
yeah.
one. Yeah. We did actually go through these cards a little bit ahead of time.
Just
and tried
get
to
a
filter
couple
out
of
some
good
of
ones.
the A tier cards.
We didn't really respond to them. We were just like, oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, you kept responding to the cards as I was like, is this a good card for us to do in the podcast? And you would just immediately launch into your story. You couldn't help it.
That's what's great about it.
And that's when I knew it was a good one, because you couldn't stop trying to tell your story from the card.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're covering
Yeah.
these ones that we're doing now.
And sometimes, like, I don't really know how I feel about something until someone asks me.
Yeah, there were a couple that were like that.
Yeah. So, all right, we've got another one of these cards now that we're 13 minutes into our recording.
13.
Yep. All right, so our next card. If you decided to go on a spiritual journey, where would you go and what would you do?
Spiritual journey. There's several places. What?
Yeah, it sounds like
I
you've
feel
got
like
some.
this is your question. This one's really for you.
Me. There's places I would go.
Yeah, well, let's get through some of the easy ones.
Definitely
Get some off the top of the
Alaska.
head.
I've wanted
Alaska?
to go to Alaska. I
Yeah.
have felt it calling to
Ah.
me forever. I need to go.
So, what is it about Alaska that makes you so fascinated with it?
Just the rugged beauty all over, and just how it hasn't quite been as corrupted by human touch.
Yeah, it is untamed,
It's the last frontier other
is
than space.
inhospitable
Yeah.
in a way that makes humans stay away.
And that just makes me want it even more. Yes.
Yeah.
If I ever get diagnosed with something, I'm going on my spiritual journey into Alaska, and y'all never see it. I'm gonna
mean,
die out there.
Why come we can't come with you though?
Yeah.
Because I'll be dying.
She's going to be alone.
Alone.
Alaska. Yes, to make our pop culture
but
reference.
not naked, because that. Ooh,
No, you're not naked and
I
afraid.
ain't ready to be
You're
hypothermic
alone.
yet.
On tonight's episode of A Witch Alone in Alaska.
I'd
That'd
watch
be a good
it.
show. I would watch the
I
hell
would
out of
watch
that.
the hell out
Yeah.
of that.
What would you do in Alaska? Would you just try to exist in the wilderness?
Yeah, I would be surviving. I'd make my own little shack. I gotta have a place to put all my knickknacks and all the cool rocks that I'm gonna be finding.
You're gonna find so many like just little acorn tops, and you're gonna be like, I can't pass this
Yep.
up because that's a fairy hat, and I must keep it.
Absolutely. I have a thing for acorns. In fact, just last week at HEB, I had just done my hair up, and I was charming this little boy in his shopping cart. He
Aw.
was just staring at me, and his little sister was running around, and like I watched her run, and then like something slipped from her pocket, and she kicked it across the way, and I just instinctively started chasing after it, and I grabbed it up, and it was an acorn.
Of
And
course.
she ran back to her family, and like I approached, and I was like, "Excuse me, you dropped this acorn," and she was like. Big eyes and everything, and so I gave it back to her, and then as I'm going throughout the store, we keep running into each other again, and the little boy just is fascinated with my hair.
Uh-huh.
You know,
As
it
we all
is
are.
bright,
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
but she was just keep seeing me and smiling and waving with the acorn, so she still had it. And then as we're leaving the store, I'm always looking down because you never know when you're going
Yeah.
to stumble across something. And there's the mother friggin' acorn. Like, as we're walking out the store,
That acorn
there
just
is
needed to
no
find
other
you.
acorns around. It was the only one. And it was the same acorn. And
Mhm.
she had left it out there, and it had
Wow.
found its way back to me again. I still have that acorn. It's
Yeah.
sitting in one of my little crochet boxes right now.
We know there's a cat distribution system. Is there an acorn distribution system at
I don't
work
know.
here? That
But-
acorn was like, yes, her. I'm going with her.
Yes,
We're
the
making this
fairies
happen.
chose me through the child, and
Mhm.
that
The
is the
changeling.
I,
The
acorn
changeling
that I will be
child.
buried in.
I feel like if the acorn chose you, though, that means that the acorn needs you to plant it.
I know, and that's what Aaron was telling me, and I was telling him, this is going to be my corpse tree. And he was like, you want a shit oak to be your corpse tree? I
Why
was
not?
like,
I'm
I don't
An
make
oak
the
is an oak.
decision.
okay. I'm just saying I don't think that acorn is the one because it's too soon.
You don't know that.
Will that acorn last like 100 years? Because we're not
Acorns
letting
can
you
last.
Yeah,
go.
we need you to last like another 100 years or so.
Ah, that sounds like a lot, you guys. 140?
That'd be great.
That's rough.
We'll
Yeah,
just,
we don't know where this is all going.
we're gonna get bionic bodies, and it's gonna be fine.
Oh, well, if I'm living in a robot body,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
they're gonna eliminate pain, and we'll have like an exoskeleton that allows us to stay strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I feel like at some point I want to try to do like a little video reading here of the Mana short story with real-time reactions from the two of you as I read it, because that was all about that kind of stuff about like
Love it.
what if we could just like intercept the signals between our brains and our bodies and do whatever we wanted with them, and we could
Yeah.
you know, go and watch a movie while our body does push-ups, and then if you feel like it, put your brain in a jar to go play video games for the rest of your existence. Yeah.
I would be doing things.
You'd be busy.
It would not be video games.
Yeah, it might be adult only.
Adults. Back to the OnlyFans content.
You guys can't see this, but we've got 5 cats that are just like everywhere, chasing each other and having a great
Fascinated.
time,
Oh yeah,
love it
they're
all.
pushing around the camera tripods.
licking
Like-
themselves.
Like every time you see me do a cut in this video, it's probably because a cat pushed a tripod and messed the camera up, and so I had to like cut to cover it. so yeah, we are, we're just getting started at all of this. We're calling ourselves the Kackling Koven. It's what we randomly came up with.
No, last time I tried, the microphone just didn't even pick
Oh
it up.
well,
that's
it was a
true.
different
It cuts
microphone.
out on
I'm
you.
a different kind
Yeah.
of witch.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
Good
very that's a
I
very
tried to keep it low.
that felt underhanded.
Underhanded.
So yeah, a lot of these videos. I mean, I'm Dean, and I'm doing kind of a lot of the tech stuff, and like managing the mixing board and editing together videos and audio and trying to set stuff like that up. And Jay is here doing her part, helping out. What all are you working on?
I'm trying to get the word out with our social media presence. And I'm hoping to set up some interviews with some cool shops around town and some cool people. I've, made a lot of friends over the years. I used to be in a band, so I met thousands of people doing that and met so many creative people, so many artists, so many people who are just, I don't know, a little bit inspired inside. They have the little magic spark in their eyes and they really want to create and do something in the world. And it would be cool to showcase some of those people and their talents and kind of get an idea of how their brain works and have them guest. So I'll be working on setting up those little guest spots and working on interviews, and we'll see what happens. But I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Shannon, what are you all doing? What are you doing for all of this? Why are you doing this?
Oh, why?
Well, that's a different question.
Color
Yeah.
commentary.
I was like, I only bring like funny jokes to the
You
table.
bring the sass.
I brought the idea vaguely,
that's
and I
true.
have brought the humor. That's what I'm bringing here.
Oh,
That is my
Okay.
skill set.
we've got a visitor.
Yep.
Let's see. Who is this?
He's
This is Ghoul.
yeah. You got to feel the belly to know.
Yeah. We have two brothers, and they look almost identical, Ghoul and Goblin. And Ghoul is kind of like the svelter one, but you can't really tell until you touch their body. And then you see like which one is a dense, chunky boy underneath the fur, and which one's a little bit more slinky.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hi. Hey there, bud.
He wants to be involved. He knows that he is a star.
It's true.
That,
They all
that he
are.
is
Power.
undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
All cats are.
And majestic AF. Yeah, he's just chilling now.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of this is just us coming together to. We had a lot of fun conversations about cool topics while we were all together, and we
Oh,
wanted to
yeah.
share that with everyone else because
Yeah.
our opinions are objectively the best opinions, and everyone should listen to them and agree with us.
That's right.
and that is the
Never.
commandment.
Oh, the commandment. Okay, not a cult. Not a cult.
Oh.
Not we're
aren't
definitely
we?
not a cult.
If you're in a cult, call your father.
Side eyeing me when I say we're not a cult. What is this?
Good thing this is just a
Yeah.
podcast.
I
All right.
I do remember that though. I do remember us having like some crazy conversations one night, and Shannon, you saying like, we need to record this stuff. The people need to know. And that really like it really like hit me, because I know that when I was younger, and a lot of people go through this, I felt like an alien among my own immediate family. I just thought so differently than they did. I thought about so many different things that just would never occur to them. And no shade against them. They were just focused on different things. They had different priorities. And I felt really like I wasn't lonely, but I felt alone in the world. Like, if even my own family members can't understand me and I can't understand them, is this what life is going to be like? And it occurred to me, like, I know, today we have social media. We can find our family. We can find the people who are, think the way that we do or want the same things that we do. But there's still some value to producing that content and giving visibility to other choices, other ways of thinking, so that those little kids have the possibility to see you're not actually alone. You just need to go out there and find what's right for you. I spent way too much time masking and just trying to fit myself into the mold, just going along to get along. And if I knew that there was another option, I think I would have made a lot of different choices in my life and saved myself a lot of pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. I think we've all felt ourselves in that boat.
I mean, not that we're going to uncover any new unknown truths about the universe, but just the idea that someone might stumble upon this podcast and it might show them a door or an opportunity that they wouldn't have considered otherwise. That to me is worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think we're even bothering to do this, is
Yeah.
just the hopes of showing the people happiness can be achieved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to
You
settle for a
can find your
miserable life.
people. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
please, guys, stop.
Yeah.
Don't
Stop
settle.
settling.
Yeah. Like
It's
one of the-
2024.
one of the most important things that I found when I, was in the process of getting divorced and I moved out into my own apartment for the first time since I was 18 years old. It's like, oh, I am actually awesome, and I can be awesome all by myself. And then I was lucky enough to find my wonderful coven mates here who helped me be even more awesome. But now that I know that I have that option of being alone again, and being completely fine,
Fine
being
with
more
it.
than fine, being great.
It's not a
on my
bad life.
own.
It's not a bad life.
And so my choice to be with the two of you is a very like it is this is better than being alone, and being alone can be great.
Yeah.
So that is what I want for the people who are viewing this to kind of feel from our version of polyamory anyway, is that like be awesome by yourself and then find people who help you be more awesome.
Yeah. And find people who continue to choose you every day.
Yeah.
This idea that you
Yeah.
you stay with a person because you've been with them 10 years
Yeah.
and you're monogamous and you're mated for life. So of course you're just going to continue to stay together forever. No. Absolutely not. Don't stay with a person who disrespects you. Don't stay with a person who isn't actively in love with you. Don't torture yourself.
Yeah.
If you are unfulfilled, get out and find what fulfills you. And it might be polyamory. It might not be. It might be, and more people are choosing it every day. Just falling in love with yourself and
Yes.
honoring yourself and having a really fulfilling life with deep friendships and goals and activities and travel and crafts. That's not a bad life. And don't let anyone guilt trip you and tell you that you can't possibly be fulfilled if you don't have a monogamous husband and like 5 kids. No, live your own life.
2.5.
Do what's
My
right
picket
for you
fence.
always. Honor yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is. It is. It is about like in a way, every relationship is a polyamorous relationship because you should be in a relationship with yourself.
Yes.
And it
100%.
sounds totally corny to say that. I understand how corny it sounds to say be in a relationship with yourself, but be in a poly relationship with yourself and your partner and your other partner if you have another partner and your partner's partner if they have a partner. Like it is important to like care about these people around you, and that's one of the like big the big problems, if I'm going to try to label big problems in modern society, is we slipped into this like everyone just depends entirely and solely on their nuclear family.
Yes.
That your parents and your children are it, and grandparents are for holidays,
Yeah.
and aunts and uncles are for holidays, and not considering friends, family.
Right. Once you get married, your best friend is your wife, and you can't have any other friends.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
No friends of the opposite sex either.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever sex
Just-
you're attracted to.
A self-imposed prison of, okay, well, now that you're partnered up, that should be all that you ever need. That's like, it's such a recipe for failure because life requires so many different support systems. You know, friendship is obviously one of those. And I think that's a big reason why people are so lonely, and probably a big recipe for divorce is that you just lock yourselves down into this codependency of 2. And that's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough
People
for
change.
anyone.
People change too.
That is also very true. Like people change completely not of their own volition, just because everyone changes. And then also like you have to be aware of people changing their behavior, even if the person they are hasn't changed, if they just change how they're behaving towards everyone. If
Yeah.
because someone can mask, someone can pretend.
Oh,
yeah.
for a
Be
long
someone else
time,
for
for
a long
years
time.
even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well,
I think it's a really important point you made, especially for women. I think that women are starting to maybe a little bit figure it out, and we've got this like trad wife pushback now. But I think it's a little fad because it's extreme. It's getting attention.
yeah.
But basically, we started as a very puritanical society in the United States, very religious and locked down with a lot of rules based in religiousness. And a big part of it was a woman's whole job is to serve her husband and cater to her children, and then also be the glue that keeps society together. And it was very much about self sacrifice. A woman cannot want anything for herself or anything that only benefits her. Everything that she does, like the signature of womanhood, the signature of femininity, was modeled in the idea of self sacrifice, of just humbleness and just purity and just, I don't want anything for me. I only want to serve others. And that is a miserable life.
Yeah.
And I think people are starting to figure that out. So I appreciate you making that point that you should definitely be in a relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
And give things to yourself. Cater to yourself as much as you cater to anyone else.
Yeah. If you're going to have a, hierarchical poly relationship style, which I'm not going to go into detail about all the different types of poly relationships.
Your choice is your choice.
But if you're going to have a hierarchical style, then number one should be you. And, at the same time, I recognize that there's a lot of people out there who, take advantage of other people and view like, oh, well, I'm just taking care of myself. I'm just taking care of number one.
Right.
So you also can't go too far down that road. You have to also consider the fact that my happiness and my well-being is contingent to some degree upon the happiness and well-being of the people that I choose to surround myself with.
Yeah. And if serving yourself harms others, that's something you should really look at and uncover the reasons why and determine if you're in compatible relationships or if you just are not being a good partner. It shouldn't be in conflict. You should be with people who, are supportive of you nurturing your own growth.
Yep.
This is a question I have. If you cut the deck exactly in half and shuffle it, and then you cut it exactly in half again and shuffle it again, did you just put the cards exactly back from the first shuffle? Because it's a 1-to-1 card mix, right? It seems like one shuffle is good. 2 shuffles, you just reversed what you did, unless you split the deck and mix them and then shuffle again.
Well, no. Okay, let's think about this from the point of view of a deck of 4 cards. You shuffle 4 cards. You cut it perfectly in half. So now you've got 1,
2 and 2.
You've got let's say you've got 1, 2, and 3, 4. You shuffled it, but it was in order. You've got 1, 2, and 3, 4. So
then it would be 1, 3, 2, 4 after a shuffle.
I mean, every time you shuffle, it randomizes again to some
Does
degree.
it randomize? Because it's card, card.
Okay, so you start with a deck. You start with a deck that is 1, 2, 3, 4. You cut that in half perfectly. You have decks that are 1, 2, and 3, 4. You shuffle those perfectly, and you have 1, 3, 2, 4. So now you've got 1, 3, 2, 4. You cut that in half.
1 and 3, 2.
Wait. Is that right? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. You cut that in half. That's 1, 2, and 3, 4.
Yeah.
You
And
shuffle
then
those two
shuffle it.
together. That is 1, 3, 2, 4.
4.
1, 3, 2, 4. So
And
then
you cut it in half. You've got 1 and 3 and 2 and 4.
you've got 1, 3, and you've got 2, 4. So now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 again. Yeah. So in that case, it would. Yeah. In that case,
right?
it would perfectly.
Okay. So you shuffle once. Don't shuffle twice. You're undoing your first shuffle.
Yeah.
If you shuffle 3 times, it doesn't matter because
Well,
you're doing your first shuffle again.
So
shuffle once and then just split your deck randomly and then stick them back together and shuffle again.
Yeah.
That's better.
It reminds me of the card mechanic, the blind card mechanic that I saw on Penn and Teller. It's a great episode. If you have not seen the blind card mechanic
Ooh,
on
I
Penn
wanna
and
watch
Teller,
it
go and
now.
watch that. It's fantastic. This guy handles the deck of cards in such a way that he can shuffle it, he can let other people shuffle it, put it all back together on the table, stack it up, and then deal exactly the card he wants. And it is incredible. It is unbelievable what this guy can do with just the senses in his fingers and his knowledge of what happens when you shuffle a deck of cards. And I don't even know how all of it works.
I don't know. And I'm not even going to look. This is just a theory I had shuffling tarot decks. Like, am I shuffling and then undoing my shuffle? And this is
I used to
audience
like that. It's-
participation time.
Yeah.
If what we said isn't accurate, if the second shuffle doesn't undo your first shuffle, let us know in the comments. Let us know how it really works, because we're just
Well,
trying to use basic logic here.
Yeah. Well, and see,
figure it out.
this assumes a
I'm
perfect
not gonna look it up.
shuffle.
Right. Which
This assumes a
everything
perfect
I
one-for-one
do
shuffle.
is perfect. So
Yeah.
assume that.
So yeah, I think we've basically devolved from tabletop cards into talking about shuffling the deck as we shuffle it.
Oh, it's gonna happen. We're gonna be random.
We've got a labyrinth, Jim Henson's Labyrinth
Yes.
tarot deck with us today.
Pretty sure it's officially licensed.
Yeah. I mean, it's got the branding on it, so I
Does
would
have the
assume.
branding.
So we can let Jay
Ooh. I will do.
Shuffling.
do a little bit on this one.
Okay, I'm gonna shuffle, and then I'm gonna randomize the deck and pass it.
Yeah. So this one, has your normal major arcana cards, and a lot of these decks, especially a lot of these licensed decks, in my experience, have a thing where they basically have 4 suits that match the normal, Rider Waite tarot suits with slightly different names, but they basically
one.
have the same meanings. And so that's what we have for this Labyrinth deck in particular is we have in the Labyrinth tarot deck and guidebook, the 4 suits are poles, junk, feathers, and pots, which represent the traditional suits of wands, poles, pentacles, junk, swords, feathers, and pots, cups, respectively.
I'm junk.
You're
Earth is
definitely
You
drunk.
are all
Earth is
junk
junk.
energy.
All junk
Yeah.
energy.
I love that you said swords.
Swords.
Is that how we're supposed to say it? Have
I
I,
mean,
been
it does
saying
have
it
a
wrong the whole
W.
time?
I-
It does have a W.
It does. I mean, what else do you say? Swords. Sword. Shannon
Sword.
had it.
Oh,
We-
you
we-
already shuffled it?
Yeah, we've all
Okay,
shuffled
it's your
it
turn
now.
now.
I'm gonna give you the book so you can look up the card that I draw.
Ooh, excellent.
Ooh.
We'll let
Teamwork.
Shannon pick from the deck here.
So this is a 1-card pull for
One
the
card.
podcast episode.
Yeah.
The High Priestess.
High Priestess.
I get that so much.
Upright.
Okay. Upright. Show it to the camera. High Priestess. Why do I get that so often? It's crazy.
I know, right? It's a pretty
can
cool
tell
High
you why I
Priestess
do.
card.
We both get it often. Not surprised at all. Because of what? Are you
Smoking.
cheeching and chonging over there?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Hitting that blunt.
Okay.
What is it,
And
Jim?
was it upright or reversed?
It was upright.
Okay.
Yeah.
The High Priestess represents someone as mysterious, respected, and powerful as the goblin Zitzi, who carries fearsome magical elements in her handbag. Oh,
Oh.
that sounds like Shannon.
Yeah, there's everything in that handbag.
It's
Handbag and backpack
Everything.
and duffel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When I come to spend one night here, I have 2 bags packed to the brim.
Yes. And Shannon does not believe in 2 trips.
No,
She
all
will just
one.
heft it all upon her.
Yep.
I am the junk lady.
She is the junk lady from the labyrinth, and
That's
it's
true.
amazing, and I love
Yep.
it. Okay, upright. The High Priestess represents a perceptive, intuitive figure who trusts her instincts implicitly, for they're never wrong. We were just talking about that before we hit record.
How I always second
about how
guess.
important it is to
Uh-huh.
trust your intuition. This card advises you to pay close attention to any gut feelings that arise,
Son of a.
because there may be more going on than meets the eye.
So is your gut telling you to like and subscribe to this video? I kind of feel like it is.
I
feel like it
know
is,
mine
too.
is.
I think you should probably follow your gut
You should probably do
and
that.
subscribe to the channel because we've got a lot more videos like this coming.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And go check us out on Blue Sky at Kackling Koven with K's.
And if you're like a really cool, interesting person with something to say, maybe reach out in the comments and we can do like a Zoom call and maybe you can be a cool guest.
Heck yeah, we didn't buy all this podcast equipment for nothing.
That's right.
We got to find people even cooler than us, if that is possible.
I don't know.
It's-
Prove us wrong.
Y'all
Yeah.
maybe
You might be the
not,
coolest.
but
Yeah.
Me, we'll find plenty.
Oh, no.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here at the Kackling Koven. We're glad to have you, and we will be back with more as soon as we possibly can. Bye.
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 Love you.